Our hands are shaking. Not because you're weak. Not because you're unprepared. But because 300 people are watching. Because this execution must be perfect. Because one mistake means dishonor. Because your mind won't stop screaming. This was Hayashi in 6005. The Tokugawa shogunate's finest swordsman. 10 years of training, flawless technique. A body forged through thousands of hours of practice. But when the moment came when real pressure hit, his mind betrayed him. The condemned man knelt calmly. The crowd watched silently and Hayashi stood frozen, sword raised. Unable to execute because his thoughts were destroying him from inside. What if I fail? What if the cut isn't clean? What if everyone sees me hesitate? His body knew exactly what to do, but his mind had become his enemy. Later that day, disgraced and humiliated, Hayashi would meet a Zen monk who would teach him something the dojo never mentioned. That the strongest warrior with a broken mind is just a weapon that can't fire. Here's the truth. Nobody teaches. Your mind will betray you the moment pressure exceeds your mental conditioning. Perfect technique doesn't matter if your psychology collapses first. This is the story of how one monk, Takuan Sōhō, taught samurai to forge minds as unbreakable as their bodies. Not through mysticism. Through brutal systematic mental training that modern neuroscience now validates. The question is, when pressure comes, will your mind be your weapon or your weakness? Chapter 1. The Breaking Point. Edo, early summer, 165. Hayashi was considered exceptional. At 28, he'd studied under 3 different sword masters. His cutter was textbook perfect. His strikes could split bamboo cleanly with minimal effort. His endurance allowed him to spar for hours without fatigue. The Tokugawa administration recognized his skill. They appointed him official executioner, a position of honor reserved for samurai with absolute technical precision. An execution required perfection. One clean cut, no hesitation, no second strike. The condemned deserved dignity. The executioner's reputation depended on flawless technique. Hayashi had practiced the motion thousands of times. On straw dummies, on bundled bamboo, on rolled tatami mats soaked in water to simulate resistance. His body knew the exact angle, the precise power, the perfect follow-through. But practiced dummies don't have eyes. They don't kneel before you. Breathing human and 300. People don't watch you. Practice judging every micro-movement. The execution was scheduled for dawn, a minor official convicted of corruption. The sentence was death. The method decapitation by sword. Hayashi arrived early, checked his blade perfectly maintained. Razor sharp, performed his warm-up cutter. Flawless as always. Centered his breathing steady, controlled. Then the condemned man was brought out and everything changed. The man knelt with shocking composure. No fear in his eyes, no trembling, just acceptance, calm. He looked directly at Hayashi and nodded slightly. A gesture of respect to the executioner. The crowd gathered, officials, witnesses. Other samurai watching to see if Hayashi maintained the high standard expected. Hayashi raised his sword to the proper position. His arms were steady. His stance was perfect. His body was ready. But in his mind, a voice began. Everyone is watching. This must be perfect. What if my grip slips? What if the angle is slightly off? What if he suffers because I fail? What if everyone sees me hesitate? The thoughts came faster. My hands feel different. Are they shaking? Don't shake. Don't shake. Don't shake. Don't shake. He's so calm. Why is he so calm? I'm the one with the sword and I'm terrified. Everyone is judging me right now. I can feel their eyes. Stop feeling their eyes. Focus. Focus. His sword stayed raised. Seconds passed. 10 seconds. 20, the crowd began to murmur. They're noticing. They see me hesitating. This is humiliation. Do it. Do it. AIE. But the more he commanded himself, the less his body obeyed. His perfect technique, accessible instantly during practice, now felt distant, unreachable. His mind was screaming so loudly his body couldn't hear the familiar commands. Finally, a senior official stepped forward. Hayashi-san, is there a problem? The words cut through the paralysis. Shame flooded him. He brought the sword down, not in execution, but in defeat. He bowed deeply. I cannot perform my duty. I apologize. Another samurai was called. The execution proceeded perfectly, one clean cut. Precisely as Hayashi had practiced thousands of times. But Hayashi watched from the back of the crowd, drowning in humiliation. Chapter 2. The monk's question. 3 days later, Hayashi had barely left his quarters. The story had spread through Edo's samurai community. The executioner who froze. Some were sympathetic. Most were confused. How could someone so skilled fail so completely? A message arrived. The monk Takuan Sōhō requests your presence at Takuji Temple. Hayashi knew the name. Takuan was a famous advisor to the shogun sword instructor, Yagumunori, a Zen master who somehow understood warriors better than most warriors. Understood themselves. He didn't know why Takuan was summoning him, but he went. Takuji Temple was austere. Simple gardens, minimal decoration, the aesthetic of Zen, nothing unnecessary. Takuan sat in a small room. He was 52, but looked older, weathered by decades of intense meditation. His eyes were sharp, penetrating. He gestured for Hayashi to sit. No formalities, no pleasantries. Tell me what happened, Takuan said. Hayashi explained. The execution, the paralysis, the thoughts that destroyed him. When he finished, Takuan was silent for a long moment. Your body was ready. Your technique was ready, but your mind was untrained. So, it betrayed you. Hayashi nodded, shame evident. Do you know why? Takuan asked. I thought too much. I should have just acted. Wrong. Takuan's voice was sharp. The problem wasn't that you thought. The problem is you've never trained your mind. You spent 10 years training your body to execute perfectly. How many hours did you spend training your mind to remain stable under pressure? Hayashi had no answer. A samurai trains his sword technique for thousands of hours. But his mind, the thing that controls the sword, remains wild, untrained, reactive. Then pressure comes and the untrained mind collapses. And he wonders why his technique failed. Takuan leaned forward. Your technique didn't fail. Your mind did. And you know what's worse? You don't even know your mind failed. Because you've never been taught that the mind requires training just like the body. He paused. Tell me, do you train your sword every day? Yes, master. Do you train your mind every day? Silence. I thought not. So when real pressure came, when your mind was tested for the first time, it broke exactly as an untrained body would. Break if suddenly asked to perform. Advanced technique. Takuan stood, walked to the window. For the next 6 months, you will train here, not with a sword, with your mind. I will teach you what the dojo never taught you. Sane Tanrin, mental forging. You will learn Fudoshin, the immovable mind. You will learn mushin, no mind. And when you return to execution duty, your mind will be as disciplined as your technique. Hayashi bowed deeply. I will do whatever you teach, master. Good, because this training is harder than any physical conditioning you've endured. Your body, you can see improving. Your mind. You won't see the changes until the moment you need them. You'll question if it's working. You'll want to quit. That's when the real forging happens. Chapter 3, The Mental Forge. Week 1. Zazen Zorden. Seated meditation. Takuan had Hayashi sit. Just sit. Legs crossed, back straight, eyes half closed, gazing at the wall. Sit for 30 minutes. Don't move. Watch your breath. It sounded simple. It was torture. Within 5 minutes, Hayashi's legs hurt. His back ached. But worse, his mind erupted. Thoughts came like storms. Memories of the execution. Fantasies of redemption, plans for the future. Anxieties about everything. The thoughts wouldn't stop. Master, I can't stop thinking. I didn't tell you to stop thinking. I told you to watch your thoughts. Notice them. Don't engage. Don't fight. Just observe. This was harder than any physical training. Fighting the thoughts made them stronger. Trying to empty his mind filled it with more thoughts about emptying it. But Tuan's instruction was clear. Just watch. Like watching clouds pass. You don't grab clouds. You don't push them away. You just notice them passing day after day. 30 minutes became an hour, became 2 hours. Slowly something shifted. Hayashi began to notice the space between thoughts. Brief moments where the mind was quiet, not forced quiet, natural quiet. Week 2. Memento Mori Sinong Sa Death Meditation. Every morning, Takuan instructed. You will meditate on your death vividly in detail. Accept that you will die today, tomorrow. Eventually. This seemed morbid, but Takuan explained. Fear of death underlies most fear. At the execution, what were you afraid of? Failure, dishonor. But why do those matter? Because you imagine living with that shame. You fear the future. You cling to life and reputation. A warrior who has died mentally every morning loses fear. If you're already dead, what can pressure take from you? The Hagakure stated. The way of the samurai is found in death. Hayashi had read this. But reading isn't experiencing. Each morning, he sat and imagined his death vividly. The feeling of the sword entering his body. His breathing stopping, consciousness fading. His body becoming still. It was terrifying at first, then liberating. If he was already dead, what did the crowd's judgment matter? If he was already dead, what did failure matter? Week 3. Can practiced Gongan, breaking linear thinking. Tan gave Hayashi a cone. What is your original face before your parents were born? The question made no logical sense. That was the point. Don't. Try to answer with your thinking mind. Sit with the question until the answer arises from somewhere deeper. Days passed. Hayashi's rational mind tried to solve it like a puzzle. Failed. Frustrated. That. Frustration was the point. The cone wasn't meant to be solved intellectually. It was meant to break the dominance of the thinking mind to create a crack where something deeper could emerge. Week 45 Fudoshin Training Budong Immovable Mind. Fudoshin means immovable mind. Tuan explained. Not rigid, not frozen, but unshakable. Like a mountain in a storm, the storm rages, but the mountain remains centered. The goal. Remain absolutely still, not flinch, not react. Let the disturbance pass through awareness without moving the center. At first, Hayashi flinched at everything. His body jumped. His mind reacted. But over days, something changed. The noises still occurred, but they no longer moved him. He noticed them. Awareness was still present, but they didn't trigger reaction. This was Fudoshin, the mind that experiences disturbance without being disturbed. Week 6, Mushin Practice, Mushin, no mind. Mushin is no mind. Takuan said the state where thought disappears and action becomes pure. You've experienced this in training when technique flows without thinking. But you've never trained to access it deliberately. The practice sword cutter performed with complete presence. No thought about the movement, no analysis, just pure execution. When you think about the cut, you've already lost. When you analyze your stance, you're in your head. Mushin is when the sword cuts and you don't remember deciding to cut. Body and mind become one thing. Hayashi practiced cutter for hours. At first, his mind narrated everything. Now raise the sword. Now shift weight. Now cut, but occasionally briefly thought would disappear.